What's up guys, Brad from Piney Grove here, and last weekend I was spraying with my ATV and this Femco sprayer behind me, and my sprayer started malfunctioning and my ATV started overheating. So I brought them both home and troubleshot them. I put a manifold on order for the sprayer, and then I put a fan thermal switch on order for the ATV. Now I troubleshot that in a different video and I'll post that link up here. But in today's video, we're going to install that fan thermal switch. And this just came in the mail yesterday. It's a few days later. And this part sits in the oil. Hopefully you can see that. You'll see a little O-ring around it. So this sits in the oil, and then it sends a signal to turn the fan on when it gets warm through this harness. And I already showed you how I jumped the harness to find out that this sensor was bad. But this sensor actually sits in oil, so I got to drain a little bit of oil so when I pull the old sensor out, oil doesn't go on the ground. So I'm going to drain a little bit of oil to get that oil level below the sensor, and then hopefully be able to get the old sensor out and put this new one in. There's not a lot of room to work with under there. All right, I loosened up that drain plug. I'm going to try just to drop a little bit of oil in here. It's Mobil 1 oil. It's fairly expensive, and I recently changed the oil, so I can reuse this. I don't know how much to drain. I'm going to call that good. Nope, I'm going to drain a little more. Well, I'm messy. Might as well. Trying to get that plug back in there. I tried to zoom the camera in on the switch, but hopefully you can see it. This right here is the oil temperature switch, and then this over here is the fan switch we're trying to replace. It's on the other side of that. There's not a lot of room to swing a wrench, so I'm hoping that I can do it without removing the oil temp sensor or the oil filter. It's a 7/8 wrench, and I can't get the wrench in there, so I'm going to try a pair of pliers. And I don't know that I can get it with the pliers. Alright, I determined I have to take this filter off, and that's going to make a little bit of a mess. You can see with that filter out of the way, I have a lot more access in here. Just want to make sure I don't mess up this other switch. Alright, with a 15/16 wrench, we'll try and take out this oil temperature sensor. Okay, loosened up. Oil won't come out because it's the same level as the filter. The oil temperature switch. And a 7/8 wrench on this one. That came out easy. Compare the old one to the new one. Looks like the old one didn't have an O-ring. Either that or the O-ring is deteriorated over time. It actually had a crush gasket. I'm going to put this in with the O-ring rather than the crush gasket because it looks like the flange is different around them. I'm trying not to spin it and kink the wire. Hopefully that don't leak.
Don't think twice, but hey, don't you want to play? Baby, go on. Tell me where you want to go. But baby, I don't work down there anymore.
Okay, I got the fan thermal switch in, and I also put back in the oil temp light switch, or the sensor I guess. And now I'll put the oil filter on, put oil back in it, and this should be done except for putting the cowlings back together.
Alright, mama, sure is getting late. Come on now, mama, don't you hesitate. Grab my hand, well we land. I got the champagne. We can knock it back, get on track, jump on, ride this thing. Double down, roll it down.
It started right up and ran fine. No leaks so far. You can probably hear that running in the background, but that fan came on because the engine was starting to warm up, but the overheat did not come on, so that's good. The light didn't come on, the fan came on before it was in an overheat condition, and the fan's cooling the engine. So I think we solved this problem. Feel that air coming from that fan blowing right against these motor fins, and the engine overheat is not on. So that's exactly what it's supposed to do. The fan is supposed to come on and start to cool the engine before it gets in an overheat condition. So it looks like putting in that new fan thermal switch solved the problem. All right, let's put this thing back together. the camera in here tight to show you that I bought about 100 of these push pins, and rather than reusing the old ones or using screws, which I do when I destroy one of these when I take it apart, because it's hard to reuse these, is I bought a bunch of new ones, and it makes this process so much quicker to put this back together. But you push it in the hole. Once you get it all the way through, you just push that part and it locks it in place. So there's the hole right there. Get it through both pieces of material and then snap it in place and you're good. All right, this is the last thing, this screw right here, and then we're done. That nice and tight so that don't come loose. And she's all put back together, folks. I missed something with this pin right here. I gotta pull this pin out. All right, that's good. Okay, that's gonna do it for this repair. Our 16-year-old ATV is back in service.